My girlfriend said, "My ex is moving in." I replied, "Okay, then move out." Then I packed her bags, changed the locks, texted her ex new address, and I just smiled because their plan was about to crash and leave them stuck with each other, not me. I, 32M, still feel a knot in my stomach when I think about it. Last night, I was attempting a new pasta dish. Already a bit stressed because I'm not exactly a chef. My girlfriend Stephanie, 29F, waltzes in, phone pressed to her ear, giggling about something. She hangs up, beams at me, and then drops it casually. "Hey," she says, snagging an olive from the counter. "So Justin's having a bit of a nightmare. His new lease just imploded, total disaster for him. Anyway, I told him he could crash here for a bit. Just a few weeks, maybe a month or two, till he sorts something." Justin, her ex, the one she was with for 3 years, the one whose name still popped up with uncomfortable regularity. My mind just stalled. That buffering icon, it was spinning over time. I think I stopped stirring the sauce. For a good 30 seconds, the only sound was the simmering garlic. The word "okay" crawled out of my mouth. It sounded distant even to me. I was aiming for calm, but I probably just looked stunned like a fish. "Okay, Han." She actually clapped her hands. "Oh, amazing. I knew you'd be cool about it. You're the best, Brandon. He's thinking of coming over tomorrow afternoon." She pecked me on the cheek and headed off for a shower, humming, "The best." I felt like the world's biggest idiot. My hands were actually shaking a little. This wasn't a discussion. It was a decree. For a moment I just stood there, pasta forgotten, heart hammering. What just happened? How is this okay? My first instinct was to shout, to follow her, to demand an explanation. But then a different kind of thought cut through the panic. A cold, hard resolve. This wasn't a negotiation. This was a massive red flag turning into a full-blown siren. Once I heard the shower running, I moved. Not like some action hero, more like someone trying to defuse a bomb on a timer. My breath was shallow. Suitcases from the top of the wardrobe. They were heavier than I remembered. I started throwing her stuff in. It wasn't neat. Clothes got crumpled. I nearly packed my own blue sweater before I caught myself. Toiletries. I hesitated at her expensive face wash, then just chucked it in. Is this too much? Am I being insane? The thought echoed, but the image of Justin lounging on my sofa in my space pushed me forward. It took nearly 3 hours, not 2. My back itched. I found stuff I didn't even know she had. I ended up with 3 suitcases, 2 bursting tote bags, and a miscellaneous pile of shoes. I definitely didn't get everything. Some things were mixed in with mine, and in my slightly panicked state, I knew I couldn't sort it all perfectly. I just focused on the obvious. The locksmith, I called 3 before I found one who could come out within a couple of hours on a weeknight. It cost more than I budgeted. Surge pricing, apparently. When he arrived, he gave me a skeptical look. "You the primary resident, mate." I showed him my lease agreement on my phone, my ID. He grunted and got to work. It felt like an eternity. Her luggage sat by the door. I didn't want to text Justin immediately. My hands were still a bit shaky. How do I even have his number? Then I remembered Stephanie had used my phone ages ago to call him when hers died, and his number was probably still buried in my contacts. Took me a good 5 minutes of scrolling and guessing. Found it under Justin X. Her input, not mine. I dragged the bags out to the curb. Felt exposed like all my neighbors were watching. Snapped a quick blurry photo. Sent it to him. "Stephanie's apparently moving in with you. Her things are at my curb address. She seems to think you'll be thrilled." My heart was thirring. This was it. Then I went back inside, locked the new deadbolt, and sank onto the couch, the adrenaline finally hitting hard. It wasn't long before my phone started screaming. Stephanie the enraged, voicemail 1 byte wave. It was mostly just screaming. Stephanie the enraged missed call 23, and counting the enraged text, "Brandon WTF. Is this my bags on the street? Are you deranged?" Stephanie the enraged text, "Pick up now, Justin is freaking out, you can't do this." Deranged, I was the deranged one. I took a deep, ragged breath. This was going to be a long night. Ada for this maybe. But for not wanting my girlfriend's ex as a surprise roommate, I don't think so. Update 1. Approx 18 hours later, it's the next afternoon. I look like I've been wrestling badgers. Barely slept. The phone was relentless. So the curb delivery didn't go down well. Shocker. Stephanie showed up around 1:30 a.m., not just banging but kicking the door. Justin was with her, looking like he wanted the earth to swallow him. He kept trying to say something, probably to calm her, but she was a whirlwind of fury. "Brandon, you let me in right now. This is my home too, you psycho." My voice shook a little when I spoke through the door, trying to sound firm. "Stephanie, this is my apartment. It's on my lease. You decided Justin was moving in without any discussion. I didn't agree. Your belongings are with him now. Please leave." More shouting. Accusations of me being abusive, controlling, a monster. It stung, not going to lie, even though I knew it was her deflecting. Justin finally managed to drag her away after maybe 20 minutes, but not before she shrieked that she'd be back with the police. I stayed up for another hour, jumpy at every sound, convinced she'd return. Her best friend, Amanda, called around 3:00 a.m. She sounded genuinely bewildered. "Brandon, Steph just called me absolutely hysterical," she said. "You threw all her stuff out and changed the locks. What happened? This isn't like you. I was exhausted, but I tried to lay it out." She told me yesterday evening her ex Justin was moving in with us. No discussion, just an announcement. I wasn't okay with that, Amanda. So yes, I packed her things. Amanda was quiet. Then she said Justin was moving in. Just told you pretty much alongside. Okay, that's wow, Brandon. That's a really crappy move on her part. I get why you're upset, but throwing her out like that, it's harsh. She didn't fully condemn me, but she wasn't fully on my side either. Fair enough. This morning, the texts resumed. Demands for entry. She listed items she needed urgently. My expensive French press. It's a basic one I bought. My work laptop charger. I have a nasty feeling she's going to claim I'm sabotaging her job. The good teapot. And all my important documents. The documents worried me. I definitely hadn't seen a specific stash, but what if something vital was in a book I packed? I texted back, "Stephanie, I packed what was clearly yours. If there are specific, genuinely essential items you believe are still here, send a detailed list through Justin. I will look for them when I have time, and if found, I can leave them in the building lobby for him to collect. You are not coming in." I had to block her number after that. The replies were getting vile. My paralegal buddy Dave, I called him this morning, not last night in a panic. He was more cautious than I hoped. "Look, man, she's not on the lease, so that's good for you. But self-help evictions can get sticky, even if it's your place and she pays no formal rent. She's been there 6 months. Someone vindictive could try to argue she established residency. Make a fuss. Did she get mail there? Contribute to any bills, even informally. I confirmed she got mail there and occasionally bought groceries." Dave winced. "It's probably fine, especially given she tried to move someone else in, but it's not zero risk. Document everything. Keep all texts. If she shows up with cops, be polite, show your lease, explain she was trying to move her ex in without consent, and that you've offered to return any essential personal items." He didn't make me feel nearly as secure as I'd hoped, just more stressed. Around lunchtime, Justin texted me surprisingly polite. "Stephanie is asking for a list of things. Can you let me know when you might be able to look?" No apology, no acknowledgement of the mess he helped create, but at least it wasn't abusive. The entitlement is one thing, but the thought of legal trouble, however small the risk, is unnerving. And I know I didn't pack every single thing of hers. Some of her books are still on the shelf mixed with mine. This is far from clean. Update 2 approx. 4 days later, it's been a few days of low-grade warfare. Stephanie hasn't tried breaking down the door again, but the pressure campaign is on. First, her sister Rebecca called. Her tone was pure disappointment mixed with steel. "Brandon, I am shocked. Truly, Stephanie is beside herself. She said you had some kind of breakdown. threw her out with nothing. She's at Justin's and it's a tiny place. She says he wasn't expecting her to actually live there just for a bit. What is going on? She mentioned something about her work laptop charger being held hostage. I tried to explain my side, the ex moving in the lack of discussion. Rebecca listened, but I could tell she was filtering it through my poor sister lens. Brandon, even if there was a misunderstanding about Justin and Steph admits she handled that badly, your reaction was extreme. She's your girlfriend and now she's saying you're withholding her things she needs for her job. That's just cruel. She wasn't buying my side easily. She suggested mediation. I politely declined. Then the item list arrived via Justin. It was long. Beyond the charger and teapot, it included things like my share of the good olive oil. Seriously. The blue vase from the living room, a gift to me from my aunt, and half the spice rack. An important mail she now claimed was missing. This was getting ridiculous. I spent an evening meticulously going through the apartment. I found some of her mail, junk mostly, but a couple of bank statements I'd put aside for her, her actual chipped teapot, and the sentimental throw blanket she'd mentioned before. I found a few more of her books. No sign of her work laptop charger, but I did find an old Universal one of mine. I packed these into a box. I texted Justin he could pick it up from the mail room and specifically stated which items were included and that her work charger wasn't there. The social media stuff started subtly vague sad posts from Stephanie about unexpected endings and trust being broken. Then a slightly more pointed one from one of her friends. I barely know about some men not being able to handle strong women making decisions. The big reveal, though, came from an unexpected source. One of my colleagues, Sarah, who knows Stephanie peripherally through some ancient college connection. Sarah cornered me by the coffee machine, looking awkward. "Hey, Brandon. Weird question, but is everything okay with you and Stephanie? Only I heard something." My cousin is friends with Justin's old roommate, the one who just moved out. Apparently, Justin wasn't in a bind at all. His roommate moved out, and Justin was looking for someone to take over the room to save on rent. He'd been trying to convince Stephanie to move in with him for a while. My jaw nearly hit the floor. The lease fell through story was a complete fabrication. They weren't just planning for him to crash. They were potentially auditioning a new living arrangement. Or worse, Stephanie was planning to move in with him, and this was some bizarre manipulative transition. This wasn't just entitlement. This was a calculated deception. That piece of information changed things. It hardened my resolve, but also made me feel sick. I screenshotted Sarah's follow-up text where she confirmed the details. She double-cheated with her cousin, feeling bad for the awkwardness. I haven't shared this widely yet. I did forward Sarah's info very neutrally to Amanda, just saying, "Thought you should know this context." Her reply was just, "Oh my God, seriously." She sounded floored. Stephanie is now trying to get mutual friends to pressure me to let her back in just to talk or get the rest of her essential things. The essential things list seems to grow daily. My head is spinning trying to keep track of her accusations and what's actually true. The stress is definitely getting to me. My sleep is shot and I'm living on coffee. Final update. Approx 3 weeks later. It's been almost a month since OK Gate. The dust is settling, but not in a neat, tidy way. Stephanie's campaign to paint me as the villain hit a major snag when the truth about Justin's apartment situation started to leak, primarily after Amanda confronted her. Amanda called me a few days after I sent her Sarah's info. She was angry at Stephanie. She lied to everyone, Brandon, about Justin's lease, about why she needed him to stay. She even tried to twist it to make it sound like you misunderstood. I'm so sorry I even hesitated in believing you fully. Apparently, Stephanie had a meltdown when Amanda called her out. Rebecca, Stephanie's sister, has been harder to convince. After I sent her a very carefully worded email attaching the screenshot from Sarah and a photo of the box of items I had returned, including Stephanie's actual teapot and the mail, she called me back. She was less accusatory, more conflicted. Brandon, I don't know what to think. Stephanie is my sister. She's a mess. She swears you're twisting things, that Justin is confusing the story, but that evidence is hard to ignore. She didn't apologize, but she stopped demanding I let Stephanie back in. Last I heard from Amanda, Rebecca was trying to get Stephanie into therapy. Small mercies. Legally, nothing happened. My paralegal buddy Dave's cautious advice made me paranoid for a week, but Stephanie never actually called the police, or if she did, they never showed up or contacted me. The threat was probably just that, a threat. The demands for her share of household items, olive oil, eventually petered out into sullen silence after I ignored a few emails sent via Justin. I did allow Justin one more supervised visit to the lobby to pick up another small box of books and knickknacks. I'd found that were unequivocally hers just to be done with it. It was awkward. He wouldn't make eye contact. The good teapot, my mother's, is still mine. Stephanie sent one last long rambling email forwarded by Justin, as I still have her blocked, about how I destroyed her faith in relationships. How that teapot symbolized our future news to me, and how I owed her compensation for emotional distress and relocation costs. I deleted it without replying. The fallout with Stephanie and Justin. From what Amanda has reluctantly shared, she's trying to distance herself from their drama. They are still living together, but it's apparently hellish. The lie they built their new arrangement on, coupled with the financial pressure since the plan to use my place as a free ride failed, has made things incredibly tense. Justin, it seems, is not thrilled to be living with a hysterical Stephanie who blames him for half the mess. You reap what you sow. I guess for me it's been a process. I'm not just fine. The first week I was running on anger and adrenaline. The second week, I felt an immense wave of exhaustion and honestly sadness. It's a rotten feeling to realize someone you cared about could be that manipulative. I've had trouble focusing at work. My apartment felt weirdly empty for a while, and not in a good way. I found a forgotten t-shirt of hers under the bed last week and just felt tired. I'm slowly reclaiming my space. I moved the furniture around. I'm trying to get back into a normal routine. It's not a clean win. It's messy and it left scars. But the alternative, letting her walk all over me and move her ex into my home, that wasn't an option. So, justice, it wasn't a triumphant movie ending moment. It was the slow, grinding consequence of their own actions. They made their choices, built on lies, and now they're living with the fallout. My revenge was just not participating in their delusion any longer and protecting my own sanity, however imperfectly. It's not a happy ending, but it's a real one. And I'm slowly, very slowly moving forward. Thanks for listening, Reddit. It helped to get this all.